Yeah, I can't even fold, I damn near cracked the code. Okay. Came to tap in with my bros, cause RaulyKnows. Okay. I took my foot off of that gas, I'm stepping on they throats. I damn near clocked up in this yo for like 10 or 4. So what they talking about? I don't know, shit, nothing new. Running up the.
Welcome everybody to the RaulyKnows podcast. I am your host Raul. Today we're joined by a very special guest of mine. I'm very happy she came to join me on such short notice. Fellow podcaster. She hosts a breathing and meditation seminar.
So I host breathwork, meditation, hypnosis workshops. So basically I help women overcome blocks or move into chapters of their life that they want to move into. And I do that through one-on-one coaching, and I recently started doing live workshops, so doing it in person instead of doing it online.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, we'll get more into that in a bit, but I have a list of questions I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Starting off, though, I want like everybody, including myself, to kind of get to know you a little bit. Like, what made you start your little journey? And because you do podcasts as well as YouTube, as well as the meditation seminars. You're a very interesting person. You got a lot of stuff going on, and on top of that, you're a mother. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you have in mind with your brand and what you represent, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah. So
Keep going.
Okay. So I started my whole journey through a long time ago when I had like this whole epiphany while I was going like through a really rough time. I had this whole epiphany where I realized that I was going through a spiritual awakening because I was having like really extreme anxiety. And I remember just telling like all of my friends, like, guys, I think I'm going to die.
Really?
Yeah. Like I just felt it. Like
spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Like, can you kind of...
So I never knew what spiritual awakening was until like this whole thing happened to me. But my anxiety got so bad to a point like that feeling that I was going to die or something was going to happen to me that one day I was driving and I just felt this like very overwhelming feeling of like I'm going to die or something's going to happen to me.
Like almost like a panic attack almost, right?
Yeah, exactly like that. And I didn't know why it was happening to me. I just it was like a random point in time where it was happening to me. And then I remember just like looking and searching like what does this mean? Like what's going on? And I came across this article that talked about having a spiritual awakening. And I remember when I just saw everything that was happening or that has happened to people, I just remember like instantly crying because I was like, that's what's happening to me. And I've never been a religious person. I'm not a religious person, but spirituality was so much more than religion. And that's what I ended up learning. And I ended up having this epiphany where I realized that I can do whatever I want. I can be whoever I want. I can accomplish whatever I want. And then I started a YouTube channel and I started
after that moment.
Yeah, after that moment. Because during that time, I had also already quit my job and I was doing...
Because of the rough patch you were going through, or you just quit it because of other reasons?
No, I think that me quitting my job before I even had a stable income caused like all of this trauma to come up.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Keep distracting.
I had like all of these just things come up.
Piling up, right?
Yeah. During that time, because when you're an entrepreneur and you're going through like transitioning phase of moving from 9 to 5, stable income, a for sure check every single day, to not knowing when your next check is going to come, not knowing if you're going to make enough money. And, I was just going through a lot during that time. And I had a whole e-commerce business. During that time, I was selling lashes. And I think that entire thing kind of like caused me to speed up my process of, going through my limiting beliefs and my mindset and just becoming who I actually need to become in order to get to where I need to get to. So that was like kind of like the start of everything. But my YouTube channel, I first started making, when I had that whole epiphany, I didn't really start talking about spirituality. I kind of started talking about business. Like, you can do it, if I can make this income, because that's when I started making a good amount of income. It wasn't stable, but it was something, So I was just like really excited. Like,
But then that's how like like you kind of like it kind of gives you like more motivation to kind of sorry, we're in a karaoke we're in a karaoke studio right now, and well, karaoke, what's this, what do you consider this?
Karaoke studio kind of thing.
We have a karaoke room, and this machine's driving me crazy. It keeps turning on every other time. I think we're gonna have to go through it with it. What do you think?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. What do you? It kind of gives a little background.
I mean, can you pick a song?
Is that what it is?
Can you pick a song to be playing in the background?
I honestly don't know.
Is this like an Asian song?
Because this is it's been every like 5 minutes it turns back on, right? Anyway, I'll probably cut this part out. It's fine.
Do you want to?
No.
And then cut it out?
We're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But I feel like what you're just saying about like having entrepreneurship, like once you could see like you can make it without that stable income, I think it kind of motivates you and kind of like assures you that you'll be okay, and you like find a way to just get it done. Because at the end of the day, like if you really want to do it, you'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was more like I wanted to show everyone else like you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, and that's kind of when I started going through also my spiritual.
Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, fine. I started going through kind of my like spiritual process where I started to become more about myself and, see like why I wasn't making a certain amount of money, why I wasn't accomplishing the things that I wanted to accomplish, why I wasn't showing up how I wanted to show up. And that's when like the whole epiphany was like, it's crazy because like that whole epiphany lasted maybe like 3 weeks of like pure euphoria where I was just so happy. Like nothing can ruin my day. Like I was just a really happy person.
You know what's crazy? That's kind of like what I'm going through right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you feel?
Like almost like verbatim, like what you just said. I quit my job. I was kind of going through some mental stuff, which led me to quit my job. But like, I feel like I'm just becoming a whole new person. Like, I've done so many things in the last 6 months that I said I'd never do probably, and just I feel like you said, like I feel great about it. And like a lot of people would be stressed out about not having a job, but obviously I set myself up, like I have a savings and stuff like that I'm living off of. But it led me to like doing my podcast again, and I stopped doing it for a while. I'm doing it like more now, but I don't know. I just feel like that whole spiritual side of it. Like I started like look what I'm wearing. Like I'm wearing like evil eye things. Like like I'm starting to believe in more of that kind of stuff.
Did you not believe in it before? It's
not that I didn't believe it. I'm very open minded to where like there's even if I'm not agreeing with what you believe or what people believe, I'm more of the type of person to kind of like, okay, so, but why do you believe it? And I'm like, okay, maybe like I'm open to like kind of like taking the things that I think are like believable in that aspect. Like I normally don't shut it down completely, but I'm just more open to just like learning anything.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm not gullible. I'm a very like, I love to research. Like I love philosophy. Like I can sit there, go to the library, get books, and like just dive into like weird ass topics. But because I genuinely want to learn, like I'm the type of person where you can tell me something and I'll be like maybe it's true.
See, so that's what I'm saying. Like maybe, I mean, I'm not gonna completely shut it down, even though I don't believe it.
Right.
But then again, there's certain things. I mean, like I hate to bring this up, but like religion, for example, a lot of people believe in religion, but when you think about it, their ideals aren't too crazy. Like there's like Buddhism that practices that I believe in because I've learned about it, and then there's like other religions like Muslim, like I believe in, but I don't follow the religion, if that makes sense.
Right. Like for me, I read the Bible,
right, but
I read it more for spiritual purposes. So for like, certain motivation or morals to go by. I don't really have anything against religion. I actually went to a Catholic school for a minute. Yeah. And it was not fun.
So I'm taking that you're a baptized Catholic. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So that was kind of traumatizing because I didn't pass the test. And I remember like the teachers being so mean to me about it. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I went through that. Then I kind of just fell off from like God and everything. Like I knew he existed, but I was like, he got something against me, you know? But no, recently I actually started having like more conversations with God and more just, you know, again, just spiritual, you know, like spiritual purposes, not really for religion. I don't think religion's for me, but I feel like for a lot of people it works for them, and that's, you know, fine.
It's almost, it sounds like I'm a bad person saying this, but like I don't believe in religion also. No. And I'm just like, it's just like religion, how come like if and I hate that it's getting here, but I'll just say this and then we can move on to the next topic. What I mean by that is just like I have conversations with God all the time. And quite recently I like I said, I was going through something mentally. I do see that you have a tattoo there, by the way. Can you tell, like, is that the only tattoo you have? Or
Which one? I have a lot. I have like 5 little tiny tattoos.
Okay, yeah. So I just got my first tattoo.
Oh, okay.
And that was one of the things that I told myself I'd probably never do because it wasn't my, like, it didn't catch my attention. Like, I thought they were cool, but on other people, like, I didn't see myself getting a tattoo. But then, like, going through what I was going through, like, I feel like a brand new person. I was like, you know what? Like, I am going through a lot. Put other people first before me all the time. I think there's a quote that I just started living through. It's like, put yourself first, obviously other than God. But I got my first tattoo. I don't know if you know Liddy, but
Liddy,
yeah. Well, she tattooed me. She was one of Tabitha's friends.
Oh, I think I've seen her on Instagram.
Yeah, so I got my tattoo and it says it's right here. It's like super small. What does
it say?
It says yo primero. So like I just started putting myself first, and like a lot of things, and that came to like kind of me discovering the spirituality of, like, you know, getting my cards read, started like the evil eye and stuff like that, like things that kind of made me feel at peace, really.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. You know, spirituality is more about like the inner journey of like, you know, I know for me, something that someone told me once was like, when you read the Bible, you're not reading the Bible's reading you. So it's more about like your perception of the things that you read, you know. And like a lot of the things in the Bible I don't agree with, just from me personally, but everything's just like an inner journey within yourself. Like, what do you believe about, you know, yourself? What do you believe about your existence? You know, your purpose and all of that. And yeah, I think it's just like spirituality's so much more. I think it opens so many more doors than religion, or at least it has for me, just because I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I'm gonna commit sins, quote unquote, because I don't think there's really such things as sins besides, you know, killing someone. I think that's like probably the biggest thing is about killing someone. But we're humans, we're gonna lie, we're gonna cheat, we're gonna do certain things, you know, because we're not perfect. And I think that's what makes you grow from that, you know. I don't think you're meant to be perfect. I think that life was meant to be fucked up for a reason. Like, I think you're meant to experience certain things to grow from it. And you know, you can either choose to grow from it or choose to move through life through, you know, the victim mentality and just stay stagnant in that.
I realized I was doing that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just like so thankful that, I mean, you don't know, I mean, in a way you do know because you're doing it, but in a way you don't know what you're doing is the reason why you're getting held back in a lot of things.
Right.
And as for me, like, just always blaming something else, like, kind of always put me behind on a lot of things. And just me realizing, like, damn, like, if I don't do something about this way I think and what I have going on in my life, nothing's going to change. You're the one that's supposed to change it for you.
And that's the hardest part is like knowing you're the one that's like, that's why it's so much easier to blame like your parents, your boss, and all of these people.
The way you
like,
grew up.
Yeah. But it's like, it's really you know, at the end of the day. And that makes it hard because then it's like, well, fuck, if it's me and I can't do this shit, like, then, you know, who do I have to blame? So it's like, it gets hard.
No, trust me. I know that now. So being that, you know, you started your YouTube, and from YouTube, I don't know if we said this on the microphone, but off camera, we talked about how the YouTube kind of progressed into podcasts, and then podcasts progressed into like more self-help,
right?
And doing the meditations and breathing work that you got going on.
So like,
And I hope you can keep continuing. I'm listening. I just got this music is driving me crazy.
You're good. So when I first started, what did I start with? My first video on YouTube was actually of me like trying makeup, because I always wanted to do something, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So I remember I started doing my first video was of me doing my sister's makeup.
Okay.
And when I went through the whole epiphany and spiritual awakening and stuff, then I started making videos on business, because I wanted to help people that way. Like I was feeling this euphoric feeling so high that I wanted to share it with everyone else. And I thought that it was
I think that's what life's
business.
about. I think that's what life's about, really. Like, you kind of have to inspire.
Yeah,
like,
you
if
have
you
to
get inspired,
share it.
inspire it.
Right.
You know, pass it on.
Yeah. So then after that, as I was going through that phase, I started going into like the rabbit hole of conspiracies. And so like my first few videos, if you go, oh my God, I'm just like, why did I post those things?
I'm going to save them before you delete them.
No, listen, I was like on something. But I mean, a lot of it holds a lot of truth to me. So that's why I don't remove them, because I feel like I believe in a lot of those things, but maybe now from a different perspective. Maybe now I've changed things, you know, like you're not the same person you were 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So there's a lot of truth that I hold in those videos, but I think it was just me understanding like reality from a different perspective. And I wanted to explain that to people, because like the way that I see the world is very different. I'm an NLP practitioner, so it stands for neuro-linguistic programming. I understand how your mind, your conscious and subconscious mind works, and how to actually tap into your subconscious mind to actually create change, you know, because sometimes you're like, I want to become this, and you know, I want to do this, and you want to you want to use the law of attraction, which is like affirmations and being positive and thinking positive, but it's like that's only surface level, you know. You have to really get deep into your beliefs, your morals, and your values, and tap into that. And most of us grow up with trauma, whether it's traumatic for you or not, or for someone else. Like everyone grows up in a unique, circumstance. Right. And so, excuse me. And so like the way that I perceive the world is through like a very unique type of lens. And I don't know, I just wanted to share how I see the world. So I see the world through like vibrations and frequencies and purpose. And I'm those type of people where I'm like, little miss, everything's a sign, you know, like everything is a sign to me. And that's just how life works for me. And
I'm smiling because I have a story to tell you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like how I perceive the world. So I started my YouTube channel. I started going into conspiracies and just talking about being mad at the government, because I was like, fuck the government, you know, like they have us all traumatized and this and that, and we're suffering. And then once I started getting deeper into my own process of healing and understanding myself, I started getting into, I stopped blaming the government. I'm like, okay, well, it's me. It's a reflection of me and who I am, you know, because I support certain brands and I support certain artists and I contribute, you know, with being the type of person that I am. So then I started getting into real self-development, and I started practicing breathwork. I started practicing meditation consistently, and hypnosis, self-hypnosis. I got my certification in life coaching, and that's like my passion, honestly. It's like self-development.
Yeah, and that's why one of the main reasons why I kind of wanted to bring you on the podcast, I kind of wanted to pick your brain on that, actually. And then for those, I know a lot of women that that listen to my podcast. A lot of them are women, really. I think it's like 64% of my listeners are women. I thought about them initially when I was like, I'm going to bring her on to the podcast, and hopefully they could probably look to you to, like, you know, sign up for those seminars, or maybe reach out to kind of like heal or whatever they need to do to become a better version of themselves. But earlier when you were saying some things, it kind of triggered like a memory of mine regarding like the signs and stuff like that. The way I quit my job is like kind of bad, but like at the same time, like I felt like the need to, like, I don't know how you are about prayer and stuff like that, but I pray a lot. And then one of the initial prayers that kind of like triggered me to change everything was like, I wanted to get closer to my family. And then I wanted to get closer to God, leading to me stopping I stopped drinking alcohol because I felt like it wasn't myself. Like I wasn't myself, and I was just caught up in all the industry life and just like going out every night, drinking. So I eventually had to let it go, and having more clarity in like my mind eventually led me to kind of like quit my job. But before I quit my job, I was in the bathroom praying. I was at work praying. I was just like, God, like it's me again. Like,
Yeah.
what's up? It's your boy. And I was just like,
That's how I literally talk to
please,
God, though.
please show me a sign, because I'm leaving right now. There's no one's gonna stop me leaving. I'm gonna leave, but just give me a sign showing me that I'm making the right decision. And as I say that, I walk out to where, you know, all my coworkers are at and stuff, and they put me in the worst section of the restaurant, and they gave me more tables than everybody else, and I was just like, I'm gonna take that as a sign. And then I just left. So
You walked out.
I walked out. It was so bad. But like I said on my tattoo, like you gotta put myself first, you know, like a lot of the times your job doesn't define you.
Right.
The way I view it, and it's just funny how I'm just saying it now, but just like I wasn't put on this earth to be working at a restaurant.
Right.
Like
No one was.
like my sole purpose in the world and life wasn't to be working for somebody. So like I was just so okay with just letting it go. But there's so many people that were like, you're so stupid. Like, look at your number one seniority. Like, why would you do that? Like, they're so, I don't even know how to say it. But
I think people just like the security of it.
No, definitely. And it felt great. Like, trust me, like it did feel good knowing that my schedule wouldn't change, that I had consistent money coming in. But I kind of stepped back and kind of viewed it from another direction where I was just like, mentally, I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. This doesn't really help me at all other than make me money, but money isn't everything to me, and I'll be fine. And then once I let it go, like, it's just crazy when, like, you know the right things or not, but it makes more sense when your mom says it.
Right.
So I went to go talk to my mom, and she's like, you know what? Like, you know, it's just a regular job. You'll be able to get another one. Don't stress out. Like, this is what your family's here for. They're here to be here for you on times where I guess like people could say I'm not doing well, but right. I mean, I'm totally fine. Like I'm getting by, you know what I mean? But in a way, like going back to what I was saying, like I wanted to get closer to my family. In a way, my prayer got answered. Like I had to go through that, and now I'm like spending more time at home. I go see my mom more. I hang out with my mom more. I've learned so much about my mom that I've never known before, and that's like, for me, my mom's like my number one. So obviously I have little brothers and stuff, but my prayer got answered in that aspect. And then just me thinking that I don't have much, but I do have a lot. Right. I kept running to God to talk to him every day. So
I think sometimes that's what it's set up for. You know, the struggles is set up so like you have an opportunity to like grow a relationship with God.
So I wanted to get closer to my family, and I wanted to go closer to God. Mm-hmm. What happened?
It's happening.
Yeah. So my prayers got answered, and you got to think about it that way. Like, it's not always just like black and white. Sometimes like gray area or whatever. But you just kind of got to be open to the opportunity of something new, and don't be afraid to let go of things, because sometimes letting go is what's gonna heal you.
Yeah, that's what like my whole workshop is about. It's literally called "Let That Shit Go."
Oh shit! Okay, so this is the best like transition into me talking about the whole workshop. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about "Let That Shit Go."
Well, it's honestly more of like letting go of just anything. Sometimes we don't even know what we have to let go of. You know, like okay, we know maybe we need to like leave the job. Maybe we know that we need to stop dating that specific person. You know, sometimes we know what we have to let go of. Yeah. But
we don't want to.
Most of the time, it's also like not knowing, like knowing there's a block, knowing you're stagnant, knowing you have to close a chapter. But it's like, how do I do it? Because a lot of people want to, right? Like, I want to leave this relationship. I want to leave this job. I want to do this. I want to do that. But like, there's something stopping you, and you kind of don't know what it is.
It's the fear of the unknown, really.
Yeah. And that's what we tap into, is like tapping into what actually is there, what the actual fears are, how those fears sound, you know, because it's a thought process. It's you having a thought, you creating an emotion, and then you acting on the emotion, because 90% of your actions are through your subconscious mind. So they're not conscious thoughts. You think that you have control because you're thinking it and you're doing it, but really it's like, you know, when you have a whole new Year's resolution, right? And you do it for a couple of days and then you stop and then you wait until next year to start all over again. But it's like that happens because you're not in control of what you want to be in control of, because somewhere deep down in your subconscious mind, you have a belief that either it's not possible for you, that you're not valuable enough, that things don't work out for you, that you're unlucky. And so we create certain situations to act on those beliefs, so those beliefs can be true, so we can hold them to, you know, being true. And a lot of us were in tunnel vision. We think life is one way and it has to be this way, and I need to be this way, and I need to be perceived this way. But that's what's stopping you from actually becoming the person that you want to become, because you're not allowing yourself to grow into the version that you want to actually grow into. And my whole workshop is about tapping into the fears, tapping into what you actually believe, what resistance you have. And, you know, we tap into that. Then we go into, I do different techniques. This workshop in specific, I already did it once. I'm going to do it again to give people more of an opportunity to actually, you know, experience that one. But it's about breath work and meditation. So a really deep meditation, but sometimes I do hypnosis. Hypnosis is more of a, it's like a deeper meditation. So you're aware of everything. It's just me using a specific way of speaking to your subconscious mind to make your subconscious mind more open to receiving the commands. And you're awake, you listen, you're aware of everything that's happening, but you're in just a such relaxed state of mind. Your body's relaxed because through the breath work, I take you out of fight or flight mode and put you into resting mode, where you're just allowing yourself to be in the present moment and actually change whatever you're going through. And the experiences and the transformations that a lot of girls and women message me about is like what I live for, you know, because like having someone message me and telling me like, you know, I started my business, or I'm doing this, or I woke up and I feel amazing. And, you know, just having like, that's what I live for. I live for making people feel what I felt before, you know, or what I practice, you know, maybe not on a daily basis,
but just to start, just planting that little seed is like, I bet it's amazing.
It's transformational. Like once you feel what it feels like to be on a level you've never been before in an instant, or in such a short period of time, like be on a level that you've never experienced before, because like we're so caught up in our perception of this is who I am, this is who I need to be to be perceived by my ex-boyfriend that I'm trying to get back, or by this girl that hates me, you know, because a lot of people are like, why do it for the haters, you know, because that, but it's like you're allowing yourself to be, you're molding yourself to be perceived in a way that is ego based. It's not authentically yourself. Maybe it's a motivation, you know, and it works for a certain time, but then you have to learn how to let that go and, you know, be you for yourself rather than trying to put up this front for everyone else. And so when you go through this process, you experience yourself through a different perception, or you experience certain emotions, I guess you can say, that you've never experienced before. And I don't like to hype it up too much, because I feel like when you go into it, you have to have no expectations, because expectations, and
you have to experience it. That's the only way.
Yeah. And like having an expectation kind of takes away from it, because then you want to control experience. Everything, you know, like you have to just go day by day and listen, I've had so much shit happen to me. I mean, like everyone else, right? Everyone has had shit happen to them. But recently, like the last couple of months, I'm gonna say like maybe the last 8 months, I just stopped caring about anything. Like my tire, something happened to my car, which I was gonna come out of pocket like $4,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I remember I was just like, okay. Like I couldn't even be mad at it, you know?
There's just things you can't control.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And I was just like, okay, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I actually have to come out 4,000, I have it. So I'm good. I was like, maybe it happened because someone needs 4,000. You know, someone who's going to fix my car needs the 4,000. Maybe it happened because I shouldn't be driving my car during this time because then I'm going to cause an accident. You know, like that's the way that I choose to experience life now. So whenever something doesn't work out or I'm late somewhere or something happens to my car or something happens, I'm just like.
Things that you can't control. Yeah,
I'm just like, okay, you know, time to move on from it.
I need to get like that.
Yeah, but it's a practice.
Well, you know what's crazy? I've gotten so much better at it. I would consider myself a very impatient person. And as of lately, with this whole thing that I'm worried, like you said, like you just stop caring about things.
Yeah.
Not so necessarily caring, like you care, but like worrying, stressing out about, man, this.
Just letting it control your emotions. You know, it's more about like learning how to control like your.
Were you always like that?
No. Oh my God. The person that I used to be was honestly so I don't want to say embarrassing because I'm not embarrassed. Because I'm like, whatever, you know? But if you were to compare me to who I used to be, I was so different. Like, even like the people who know me, they're like, yeah, Daisy, like, I don't know what happened to you, but they love it. I mean, because I'm so much more compassionate. I still have my flaws though. Like, I'm not sitting here like saying like, I don't ever get mad and I'm not impatient because I'm very impatient in certain areas. Like I've grown a lot, but I also have a lot more to do.
Did I turn it on? I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Next time we do this, I'm gonna make sure I unplug that shit because this is crazy.
Did you want to turn it off?
Does anybody know how to read in Korean? I'm just kidding. We did it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Maybe it'll add a little vibe or something.
Yeah, no, I'll edit. I'll for sure edit. There's nothing happened. Hey, welcome back from our commercial break. So we were talking, pardon me, we were talking about, were you always like that?
Oh yeah, so no, I used to be a fighter. Like I used to be like one of those girls, like I was never a bully, but no, you cannot do shit to me. Like,
but you can't bully
and
me.
I'm still like that way. I'm still that way. Like I'm very calm and very to myself. I don't like drama. I don't like any of that. But before, like it was really hard for me to show affection to a lot of people. Like I had a lot of love, but I just couldn't show it. It felt awkward to me, like to hug people and to do stuff like that. And now I'm just like a very affectionate person. I'm consistently telling my friends like I love you, I miss you, you know, like I'm just I had to get in touch with the younger version of myself because I had my daughter at a very young age. I had her at 14 years old. So I didn't have a chance to like grieve my childhood. Like every single person grieves.
Right.
Or you're meant to grieve your childhood. Like that's why when we go through our teenage phase, we get depressed. And spiritually, it's believed that we get depressed because we're grieving our childhood. Like we're consistent. Every time you grow, you have to grieve, right? It's like seasons that you have. And for me, since I had a daughter at a very young age, I had to grow into that phase or that part of myself very quickly. And so I wasn't really patient. I had a lot of things that I didn't do right, and you know, I'm not perfect, no one's perfect, but I just know that I really tried to push everything down, and yeah, it didn't work out for me. Like pushing everything down and trying to avoid it just didn't work for me. So now that I am on this journey, I look back and I'm just always trying to find out like, okay, where did this come from? Where did me snapping about this come from? You know, like that's literally what goes through my mind on a daily basis is like, why am I like this? Like, why did I react like that? Or what can I do better? Like literally that's what my life consists of. And I love it. Like I like trying to figure myself out. That's why I got into astrology recently, because I never used to be like astrology, like, oh, you're Sagittarius or this or that, whatever. What are you?
I'm just kidding.
When's your birthday?
February.
I don't know what it is. But all I know is like I try to read my birth chart, you know. I'm like, okay, what am I, you know? And dude, it's crazy because it's not just about like, oh, you're a Leo or whatever you are, you know. It's really crazy because okay, this is for me and what I research, right? Like you are made up of, I think it's 90% stardust, and you're made up of more than 60% water. The moon, the way it influences the oceans, like you have to be affected by it in some way.
Right.
And seeing that you come from the stars, seeing that ancient civilizations looked to the stars and kept that in consideration. The pyramids are aligned to certain stars, you know, like we can't just avoid the fact that it's important to who we are, you know? So I looked into mine recently. The last couple of weeks I've been diving into like my actual chart of like the time, the planets, where they were at the exact moment that I was born. And it's pretty accurate. Like I would say like a couple of things are off, but also you have to take into account like your environment, how you grew up, how your parents raised you, the events that happen in your life. But as far as like how I react and who I am, like it's pretty accurate. Yeah.
I think I wouldn't say I need to get into it, but it's just like, I know for a fact that's like one of the first questions that people ask you when they want to get like, if they're into it, like to get a little more into it. But, because of that, I had to learn. I had so many questions that at one point I think I had to realize what time I was born, and I had to like so many questions I've been getting. But
it's good to want to know about yourself, you know,
no, definitely
like know about yourself on a level that it's not like that you just want to know yourself to become a better person. I think that like life, I think all you really need to do in life is just to be a good person, and like you can't really be a good person if you don't know who you are or why you are the way that you are, or if you can't see like your mistakes, you know, you can't see like where you're wrong, because it can become really easy for me to say, you know, you need to be this way and you're like this, because, you know, for me to come at other people and say like, oh, you did this to me and that and blah, blah, but it's like, no, at the end of the day, you have to really look at yourself and say like, okay, well, what type of person am I? Why do I react? How do I contribute to all of the things that are happening in my life? Like, me not getting along with someone, how do I contribute to that? You know, if I'm in a relationship where I'm depressed, like how do I contribute to that? You know, it's plays too to play a part. You know, you play a part in every single relationship that you have. And so when you're in certain situations, you have to see how you play a part. Like you can't just consistently blame everyone else for your problems and for you not, you know, moving out of the chapter in your life that you need to move out of.
No, for sure. You said, what's your ethnicity again?
I'm Mexican.
Are you just like me in that you're like first generation?
Yeah. My parents were, came from Mexico.
Nice. Yeah, me too.
Okay. What part?
My parents are from Guerrero.
Guerrero?
Yeah.
My dad's from
Your dad's from Guerrero?
Mm-hmm.
Dope. You have a good relationship with him?
My dad?
Yeah.
My dad is me. He's like my twin.
Yeah.
So we stay getting at like coming at each other's throats, but like in a loving way, you know, like I call him out. I'm the only person in the family that calls him out on his shit because I know him, because he's me, you know. So it's like easy.
Actually, you know, both of my parents are from Guerrero. Now that I think about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just my mom was just raised in Michoacan.
Okay, no, my mom, she's from Michoacan.
Dope.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that is because like, being that we're first generation, like, what do you feel like that's made like you being a first generational, what's that term? Like being first generation American.
Yeah.
How did that affect you growing up?
I think it was, I don't know if you can relate, but I know like for me, a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
like,
definitely
was instilled into me. Like my dad, he's such a hard worker. Like he busts his ass every single day, and like that whole him having to work really, really hard, and my mom being my mom has worked before, but she was mainly like a housewife. And so I know like from Mexico, a lot of them can become very machistas.
Yeah.
So like women just work, you know, and
so machista is how would you say that in English?
Machista, I would say like
like blue pill.
I would say no. I would say it's more of like, I don't know what the opposite of like not a feminist is.
Masculine, maybe.
Yeah, very masculine, like very, very, very masculine, traditional masculine type of guy. And like for me, I hate that shit. Like I hate someone who like, I hate the
stigma.
Yeah, like the thought process of that. Like I can't deal with that. And so like growing up, my dad was very like, you know, he'd always like, you have to clean, you have to cook, you have to do all of these things. And I'm more of like, no, I'm going to do everything on my own. You know, like I'm going to do both, but like, I'm not just going to stick to one thing, you know? And so, it was kind of hard growing up because like my dad, he would always instill a lot into me. Like, you need to work hard, you need to cook, you need to clean, you need to do like all of these things. And I'm just like a rebel. I think that's why like my childhood, I was such a like fighter and try to like do the opposite of like what my parents would tell me, because like I just...
Were they very strict on you?
Oh, they were strict.
That's probably why.
That's probably I got pregnant. That's why I got pregnant.
No, I didn't say that.
No,
I didn't say
no.
that.
I tell them that all the time. I'm like, because you guys are so strict on me. Like, that's why I got pregnant, because like I would just want to go. Like, when your parents don't let you go out and do nothing, like you're gonna find a way to go out and do stuff, you know, especially here in Vegas. Like,
and in that little freedom that you do get, you go crazy.
Yeah, you know, and like I was just like a wild, and then plus all of my cousins were older than me. So when they would go out and I had the opportunity to go out, it would be like me hanging out with them, and they're older. So they would be drinking and partying and stuff. So I would, you know, go drink and party and shit. But, you know, I think everything happens for a reason. Like my daughter, she's like the reason why I even quit my job and started my company, because I named it after her. You know, like she was my motivation. She's my motivation to everything. And yeah, but like my parents, they're, you know, we're all flawed, but they're amazing parents. Like my dad, he's very supportive. My mom, she's extremely supportive. Like they love me, they support me. We just have sometimes different mindsets, because I know when I first started my business, they were kind of like,
they're not used to that idea.
Yeah, they're like, because when I first started my business, I would work from home a lot, and my dad would be like, "No estás trabajando." Da, da, da. I'm like, sir, like I'm working my mind, you know, like I'm not working physically, but I'm working my mind. And they kind of didn't understand that in the beginning,
because everything to them is just like physical labor. Right. That's the only way you work.
Exactly. So I think it's just kind of hard growing up with parents who kind of don't understand money management, don't understand how to you know, help me with college. I dropped out of college. I went to college for a year and I dropped out because I went to CSN. So it's not really like you would go into the counselor's office and they weren't very like helpful at all. Really? They're kind of just like, what are you doing here? You know, kind of like annoyed. So like, and I'm the type of person, like back then I would just be like, try not to annoy people. But it's like, it's your job, you know, you're supposed to help me out, now that I think about it. But I dropped out of college, and it kind of sucks because you don't really have the support from them in that way, you know, like in a traditional American family where they already know the system, they already know how to do all these, you know, bigger things and how to set their kids up for success. And it's not their fault. You know, my brother, he set the tone for everybody, so I'm like, fuck you. But he's like, he graduated with his master's in accounting.
So good for him.
Yeah, and he has like 10 acres of land right now. Wow. He's like successful as fuck. So I'm like, damn.
Is he older than you, younger?
He's older than me.
Okay.
So I can't say like it's all my parents' fault, you know, but it was harder for me because I didn't have no one. I had my daughter. I was working 3 jobs at one point, going to college. And at one point I was just
external factors eventually. Like,
I just couldn't. So I was like, you know what? I quit my jobs because I wasn't spending time with my daughter either. Like I was working so much. And she had started school, and I remember like I couldn't even help her with her homework because by the time that I got home, she was getting ready to go to bed. So it was like, fuck, like I'm missing everything, you know, I'm missing helping her. I'm missing how her day went and all of that because I don't have time, you know? So
that's the things people try to sacrifice for what people think is life, and that's money. And honestly, like the money will come if you have like a specific thing that you kind of like work at. But personally, I especially from my opinion, where I'm at in life right now is like, yeah, the money's important in what freedom it creates, but also like if you're working all this time and life is passing you, I don't think that's a really good way to live.
And that's the thing with like security is, you know, like you would rather have a stable job and live by that, and you know, but it's like time, you know, you can be very successful, you can make a lot of money. Look at doctors make a ton of money, but they don't have no time. You know, like how do you even enjoy that? They have like the highest divorce rate. And it's like, for me, I want to be married, I want to have kids, I want to have my family, but I want to be able to enjoy
without stressing out.
Yeah, you know, like I'm a very like entrepreneur type of woman, right? But like I would probably give up most of it to be a at-home mom because like I would love to stay home and cook and clean and do those things for my kids. But I also really enjoy like having my own passion, you know, and I wouldn't give up my passion for anything. Like
right, you shouldn't. I don't think you should.
Yeah, this is like my dream. So like I know I love doing this, and this is what I'm gonna do forever, or maybe something, you know, much more bigger than that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that life, you know, like it's like the rat race, you know, everyone's trying to make it to the top, you know. Yeah, and it's like it's just you against you. Like I don't believe in, there's a lot of like, there's this concept that has been put into like society of like, if you don't open up, you know, let's say your store every single day, like people are going to steal your clients. You know, you have to be consistently after thinking and looking at the other people. But I don't think people can ever take away what's meant for you.
Right.
Like I think that you will have what's meant for you because it's meant for you and it's in the books for you, but you have to have the faith for it. And a lot of people don't have faith. You know, like I always go back to relationships because I feel like that's where I had the most trauma and experiences in my relationships, because I just been through it. And I think with relationships, you know, a lot of people believe, you know, I deserve this, I deserve that, I deserve a man or a woman who's like gonna treat me like this and that or whatever, right? But then you go settle. So it's like you don't have faith that there's someone out there who will give you everything that you need. You believe it, you say it, you know, surface level. Again, it's surface level. But if you had faith, you would wait. If you had faith, you would leave what isn't for you, you know? Like it's, faith is more action based. It's more of leaning into the unknown and allowing it to be, and then choosing to honor yourself and your values and what you believe you're meant to experience in this life. And a lot of people just don't have that in themselves to, you know, like have that faith in there. And I've noticed for me, I've grown a lot of faith recently, like a lot of faith. Like I just know things are going to work out. And sometimes I feel like God be doing it to test me, because like sometimes till the last minute, like I'll be like kind of start, like I'll be good, and then I start stressing out. I'm like, holy shit, it's not gonna happen for me. And then like I start stressing out really, really bad, and then it happens. And it's kind of like you have to have faith, you know, like all the way through, because it's gonna happen for you, but you just need to have that faith. And like for example, my first workshop, like I'm a human, okay, I was nervous. I was like, fuck, you know, it's like I just wanted people to experience a good, you know, a good workshop, and
to make it worth it. You know?
To make it worth it, you know. And so I remember the first night I told my friend, I texted my friend the next morning. I was like, dude, I was like, I'm freaking out. Like, what if no one comes? You know, what if no one shows up? She's like, dude, it's normal. She calmed me down. She was telling me, but, you know, for that moment, I was like, okay, you know what? Give it to God. You know, if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. It's going to work out. Whoever needs to be there is going to be there. And the women who showed up, they were like the best people who could ever show up, and they were present, they were open, they were raw, they were honest, they gave, you know, all of themselves to me, and and I appreciate that, because like they gave me that trust, you know, they trusted in me to be able to guide them. But yeah, I've noticed like in life, for me at least, sometimes things don't like, once I start stressing about it and I start kind of like leaning away from the faith, like, and then once it happens, like it's perfect, I'm just like, yeah, like I just need to trust everything and anything, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just so like, because I think we're all pretty much similar in the way we think about maybe doubting ourselves. Like even if you're really confident in something, there's a little like, maybe this is gonna happen, and that just like happens for me, at least being an overthinker. I need to do better at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's natural though. Like I think it's even about levels to it, you know, like if you are starting something for the first time, you're gonna have anxiety, you're gonna be stressed about it, like you're gonna have doubts and you're gonna question yourself. But once you get over it, it becomes easier and easier and easier, you know. And I think that's what a lot of people fear, is like the first initial fear of, what if I fail publicly? What if this happens or that happens? What are people going to think about me? You know, what if I try to become a different person and people start questioning me? You know, because like for me, I remember when I first started becoming affectionate, it was kind of more of like, what if I hug them and they're like, ew, you know, like what's wrong with you or something, you know? But it's hard. It kind of feels like, I don't know, it's kind of like you're growing into a new mold, that you're like shifting into being someone different, and it feels awkward because you've never been that person. Or it's even like, you know, when when you're wrong, you know, you're arguing with you're arguing with someone and you realize you're wrong, but it's kind of hard to like admit it. You're kind of like, yeah, I guess, you know, but it's because we're so accustomed to fitting in this mold, and we think this is who I am, this is who I need to be, and we don't allow ourselves to grow into who we actually need to be because we're stuck trying to project our fears and who we are into the future to, you know, stay alive, to have that ego part of us, you know, stay alive. But it's just a practice like everything else. Like you have to practice the awareness. You have to practice notice your thoughts. That's something that I'm really good at, is like noticing the patterns, you know, because your thoughts, you have over 70,000 thoughts per day, right? 90% of them are recycled from the day prior. So if you consistently feel shitty, you're consistently doubting yourself, you're thinking a certain way that's causing certain emotions, and you're going to cause the same reactions. You're going to practice the same habits over and over and over again. So how is your life supposed to change if you're not aware of what you're thinking? And, you know, overthinking, something that we do all of the time. And I think it's something that's natural. I think humans, we're just meant to be thinking and trying to solve things and trying to evolve and grow. But once you become in a state of autopilot and you're just thinking consistently, you're not even aware of how you're thinking, then that's when it becomes a problem, you know, because you have to become aware of what you believe, you know, how you're feeling consistently on a day-to-day basis. When you wake up, like for example, when you wake up tomorrow, take note of the first few thoughts that you have and how it makes you feel and where it sits in your body, and becoming aware of that, and then noticing how maybe you're making decisions based on that and how you're feeling it. Do you allow your thoughts to continue on? You know, like it's like, let's say you are afraid of flying, right? And you're like, you're on your way to the airport and you're like, damn, what if my baggage gets lost?
Yeah.
Oh my God, then I'm going to miss my flight. Oh my God, then this is going to happen. You know, and you get stuck in that cycle. You have to be able to become aware of the first few signs of you getting stuck in that cycle. Wow. You know, like become aware of you starting to go down that rabbit hole over again, and then being able to stop yourself and like bring yourself back to center, bring yourself back to how you actually want to feel. And again, tune into the feeling, because it's easy to say, you know, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. But if you don't feel it, it's not going to change anything, you know, because your emotions, that's what humans are built on, is emotions. And, you know, for example, I got into trading stock market. So I day trade, and that shit's hard. But it's hard. It's not hard because of what you learn, like the techniques or any of that. It's hard because it's meant to fuck with your emotions. Like, really? Yeah. When you see the money going up,
let's go.
Yeah, you know, and you're happy. You're like, okay, I want more. You get greedy.
Yeah.
And then
it kind of reminds me like sports betting, but we'll just keep going off your topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing basically. It's kind of like, you know, you see the money going up and you're like, maybe it'll go a little more, right?
Yeah, I just wait a little bit.
Yeah, and then boom, that shit falls and you end up at zero, or you end up losing a lot of money. And it's like, you let your emotions take over you, or maybe you're losing hella money and you realize you're so deep in that shit, and then you're like, well, maybe it'll go up. And it just keeps falling and falling and falling, you know? And it's
that's
like,
how it was with my crypto. I had a very bad experience with crypto.
Really?
But,
me too. Yeah. Me too. I've lost a lot of money in the stock market. I'm still barely trying to make back what I've lost, but I only have a year doing it, and I'm okay with it because I know it's going to be successful.
You learned, right?
Yeah. And it's like, I'm so much closer now than where I was a couple of weeks ago, you know? And it's exciting. Like, I love trading the stock market. The type of success you can have there is crazy. That's why so many people lose out on it, because it's you against you, you know, it's you against yourself. And it's hard. It's hard when, you know, like when you realize like, fuck, it's me not being consistent. It's me not listening to my rules. It's me, you know, not just listening to myself. And you see that in every other aspect. Like, I thought it was discipline, but then I started trading and I was like, fuck, I'm not disciplined at all. So it's hard. Some days are harder than others, but yeah, I'm getting better at it.
That's good. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
As for like, we talked about your podcast, we talked about your breathing. Is anything else that I missed maybe that I could have brought up that you want to talk about?
No, I think the only message I think I really have for people, I think we're going through a period in time where shit's been hard and it's getting harder, and we see it every day. And sometimes I'm driving, I see people, homeless people, and I see more, just more poverty and more people stressed out and more people doing crazy shit to, get reactions, maybe get help. And it's just like, I think we're in a period of time where we're going to see a lot of things happen. And I think the only thing that we can really do is try to become a better version of ourselves, because you being a good person to yourself radiates around you. You being happy allows you to give room for other people to be happy. You give people that ticket to be themselves, to show up authentically as they are. And being authentic is hard. Like, I'm pretty sure like, if you try to record yourself, or the first few times you can record yourself, it's like once you have a camera on you, it's kind of like, fuck, like it's hard.
Yeah, speaking of that, how many takes does it take to you, like, for you to finish like a YouTube video? Like, do you do more than one take, or is it just one?
When I first started, it was easier for me because my camera was only like, it would overheat at 20 minutes. So I would just like speed through it, right? And I would flow. Yeah. Like, it would just go through it. Then after that, once you start getting like the negative comments, I was like,
oh, you have a bunch of negative comments?
Yeah, I had some. No, not a lot. I think my community is very like positive, like extremely positive and loving and supportive.
Yeah, I see that, like, you get like thousands of views on some things, and then
but I feel like those videos are not who I am anymore.
Wow.
Some of the ones that I talked about like shrooms, like doing shrooms and stuff.
That's not you anymore?
No, I'll do shrooms again. But like,
so like, I'm 29. Crazy, right? Yeah, I'm old. But like I said, remember I told you, like, in the last 6 months, I've been doing a bunch of things I never thought I'd do. So up until Coachella this year, I've never done drugs.
I went to Coachella too.
I saw Frank Ocean. You saw Frank Ocean?
No.
You went weekend too?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It was great. I loved it. I know a lot of people were like talking shit about, oh, like, he didn't sing, he didn't do that, but like, I was like so close that just seeing him, because he's my favorite artist.
Pobrecito.
No.
Oh, him.
No. Oh, him.
Yeah.
I was so close that I just seeing him, and I'm like, oh my God, he's real. Like that, just for me, because he's my favorite artist. I was just like, wow, it was worth it. Just he didn't even have to say anything.
That's what I went for, was for him.
So him doing his thing, I thought it was great. I personally loved it. Do I wish he sang more? Yes. But when he sang, I was just like, out of body experience. But so going back to that whole Coachella thing, and going back to what we spoke about earlier, you mentioned not caring, right? So me not getting a tattoo stemmed from the perception I thought people would have of me if I got tattoos. I did shrooms for the first time, which is my first drug I've ever done. I've never smoked weed. I never smoked hookah, cigarettes, nothing. I've never done anything other than alcohol. Alcohol is a drug, by the way. But I'm 29, and I'm just at this stage where I'm just like, I don't care what people think anymore. Yeah. Like, I was doing it mostly because I was just scared of being judged and be viewed a certain way. And then we're at Blink 182, and everybody, you know that little Coachella circle. Everybody's in the grass passing their drugs or whatever. Someone offered me mushrooms, and then someone that doesn't know me like that, and they're like, everybody else like, nah, he's not, don't worry, don't give him any, like, he's not gonna get any. And I was just like, fuck it, and I grabbed it and I ate it, but it was like a chocolate mushroom. And then my friend comes up running to me. He's like, what the fuck did you just do? I'm like, what did you just eat? I'm like, oh, it's the chocolate. He's like, you know it has mushrooms in it, right? Because he's trying to look out for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah. He's like, oh shit. Like, oh shit. Okay. Like, well, how many did you eat? I'm like, I only had one. He's like, you're not gonna feel it. Here, take another one. So he gives me another one. He's like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well fucking feel it. So like, here, take another one. I'm just like, all right, I'll take it. Like, at this point, I'm just open to anything, right? As I took it, another friend comes up to me. He's like, what'd you take? I'm just like, oh, I took chocolate mushroom, like the chocolate bar or whatever. He's like, bro, sometimes that doesn't hit. Here, take 2 mushrooms. Like, take actual 2 mushrooms. And I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. But I took it. Yeah. So I took, in addition to the 2 chocolates, I took the 2 mushrooms. And I'm faded out of my fucking mind. I'm drunk as fuck at this point. So I'm just like, whatever happens. I just want to know what it feels like. You know, I've never felt high before. So, you know, fast forward an hour, I'm at Calvin Harris, and I hate EDM, by the way. And I'm sorry if like people are gonna. I know, I'm sorry. People are gonna judge me, but it's okay. But you know what? I need to be more open minded, and I need maybe I'll like it. I liked it at this point, but just listen to me. So I'm at Calvin Harris. I'm in the back. So originally, I'm not having a good time because I have to be in the front for me to be watching an artist because I don't like being in the back. I might as well just watch it at home. I'm sorry, but it's just like I just don't like being in the back. I'd rather be in the front. That's the only reason why I went to go see him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the back. I'm not having a good time. It's EDM. I'm not having a good time. I'm standing there, and then I'm just like faded. So I'm just standing here like this. I can't even feel anything, and out of nowhere, and then I just like put my hands over my mouth, and then my friends are like they're pointing at me. So they're pointing at me, and then one starts recording me. So like they have a video of me just like tripping. I was like, because it hits you.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least for me, like I've never felt high before.
Did you feel like throwing up before that?
No.
What the fuck?
That's
how I know it's gonna hit when you want to start like throwing up.
I never been that happy ever in my life.
What?
And I think after I've never. Oh, actually, you know what?
No, for me it's the same. That's like a whole euphoric. You're just so
I've never felt
disconnected
that happy
from
before,
everything
though.
that you allow yourself to just perceive everything as. Or what was your experience?
It was great. It was mostly like me being happy and sorry. It was just me being happy and I don't know, it was just like it kind of distracted me that she asked me because we have the room. But I felt just happy. Like I don't know how to explain it. I was just like super happy, and a lot of people were like, "Well, that's good because if you're in a bad state, like you could see and like experience things that are going to make you have a bad experience." Right. And I'm like, well, dude, if it's supposed to be like this, I would much rather have this all the time. But they're like, it's not always like that.
Well, some people microdose on it.
Right.
So some people put it in like their
No,
smoothies.
it was definitely not
stuff.
a microdose for me.
Yeah,
it was like a lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, like it was the most, I don't know, is it dopamine or like the feeling of being happy?
Yeah, dopamine.
Or euphoria.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't become addicted to it, but I was just like, there's more to life than.
Yeah.
Imagine me going through life and never feeling that happy ever.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what shrooms are. Like shrooms to me, it's more of like being able to disconnect from everything, but seeing everything from a perspective that is not connected to your feelings. You're just very, very happy. Like at least for me, when I did it, I was hiking. I did it on a hike, so it was so beautiful because I was just looking at everything.
And that's what they recommend you do, like on a hike, because all the nature and all that other stuff.
I was like, God did this. Like God did this.
God did.
You know?
No, that's good.
And, like, and then I would just like look up, and then all of my problems, I had all the answers. Like problem answer because I was so disconnected from being me that I was able to perceive my problems from a different perspective. And the euphoria I had, I don't know if you were laughing, I was cracking up that time.
No, definitely laughs being like holy shit, the holy shit moment. Me just I'm not a type of person to just sit still. And by sit still is just like
meditate.
What is life? This is where I'm at in life right now. I'm living this moment right now. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I laid down on the grass, I laid back, and then just like the whole world just like at the palm of my hand almost.
I mean, meditation gets you to that. Breathwork.
I felt like that I was doing
gets you
that,
to
though.
that.
Like naturally. I didn't I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
I was just like not talking to anybody. I was just like laying down, like sound like a crackhead. But
well, that's you at your natural state. Yeah. Like I think a lot of humans, we're so distracted by everything that happens on a day-to-day basis. Having to pay bills, having to get this done, having to eat, having to feed our kids, having to go to work, and all of these problems, right? But your natural state is that what you explain. It's presence, it's awareness, it's you being in love with everything and experiencing love at its like highest form. That's what your soul is. When you leave this body, that's what you you are is just pure love and happiness. But that's why I say in the beginning, I said, I think that you're meant to experience this world through all of the shit that we go through. I think it's meant to be a shitty world.
Oh, full circle.
Yeah, it is.
The conversation hit a full circle.
Because you are that on for eternity. But how do you know the difference? How do you appreciate that if you don't appreciate the negative? You know, like how would you know love if you don't know hate? You know, that's like the yin and yang. So
the highs are high and the lows are low.
Right.
And they're meant to be that way.
And if you were consistently happy, you would never know what it's not meant to be happy. You know?
Happy. Like if you're happy all the time, like eventually it's not going to feel good.
Right. You're going to be bored, you know? So I think that's why as souls, we come down here to experience the trauma, the pain, the heartache, and all of those things. Because when we come back to source, it's like, wow, you know, like.
Yeah, there's this quote I actually like found to be amazing. It's just like somebody was going through a lot and they're saying, why are my highs high and my lows are low? Mm-hmm. And then somebody put it into the perspective of a heartbeat. So the highs are high. So when the heart rate is like moving, it goes up, but it also goes down, right? But if it flatlines, you're dead.
Right.
So I feel like that's how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like highs are high, lows are low, and then when it's stagnant, you're not really living.
Right. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we get caught up in or stay too long in certain points. I think sometimes you're meant to stay there for a certain period because you're meant to learn something from that. But I think sometimes we unintentionally keep ourselves there because we think that we deserve it on a subconscious level. We think that nothing else can happen for us. We, again, victim mentality. Nothing works out for me, so let me just stay here. Let me just stay mad. Let me just, be rude to everyone that I come across because, it's like I have maybe this is going to come off wrong, but I'm the type of person where you could tell me this person did this to this person, right? And I'll be like, well, what if that person was going through something? Like I don't defend people, but I try to see from their perspective.
Trying to understand.
I love understanding your mind, like humans' minds. Like I love that. I actually want to go back to school for psychology because I love that. But I'm the type of person where I'm like trying to understand from their perspective. Every time my friends, when they come to me for advice, I'll be like, okay, well, there's this perspective. And then now you can see how you're going to respond now that you've seen it through different perspectives. Because sometimes, again, we're just so caught up in our tunnel vision, like this is how it's meant to be.
Yeah, no, and if you don't view outside the box, like you're always going to think in that way. And then it's just sometimes better to learn from other people. I'm by the way, I'm learning so much just sitting here across from you. So I just want to thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
Man, I wish I get probably like more time with you, but well, I'm scared like when my camera's about to die or something. Like you keep seeing me like looking at. I just want to make sure everything's like going. We've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, well let's take off like 3 minutes because I went to go turn that shit off and every time that was. But I mean, I'm okay with ending it here. Mm-hmm. We could keep going because I feel like my camera might die. Yeah. But is there anything that you want to for sure like get out there or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that
where can they find you?
Yeah, so my social media handle is Daysy Rosas, DAYSY or you can also search up my workshop or my podcast at Ignite and Embody. And I'm hosting my next workshop on the 20th of this month, so August 20th. If you guys want to sign up, hopefully you can provide the link for them to sign up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I hope that you guys can, experience that with me.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me here at the RaulyKnows podcast. I've learned so much. I hope all the listeners and viewers enjoyed this one. I'm definitely going to have to bring her back because we have a lot of conversation left in us, but I got to get stuff to record us longer. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you've been here all the way to the end, I'll make sure I get all the clips out. Again, thank you so much. Daisy Rosas, thank you for joining us here. Appreciate you.